So I'm going to be talking today about what I call the three buckets. I came up with this concept when I was a little bit younger and trying to figure out my way and how to grow and build as an adult. And one of the issues that I was facing that I think a lot of people also face is this concept that we're always told to choose our passion, to find things that we love to do and do those things. And I remember thinking, God, I can't think of anything that I'm like in love with, that I just really love to do. Yeah, I want to have money. Yeah, I want to be able to live a great life. Yeah, I want to work on things that are impactful, but starting off my career, how am I going to find those things? How do I know if that's the right path? If those are the things that I'm going to do that are going to lead me to the success that I want? And I kept doing research on the best kinds of jobs, the best kinds of investments, and then hearing stories about people just creating businesses and taking a risk on themselves. And it just reminded me that every element of each one of those things exists as a whole. And so this idea was, well, if I knew exactly what I wanted to be, no problem, I'll go chase that thing. But in lieu of that, my idea was, well, what if I just find the best job that I can and then, do the best that I can to save? And you take that saving and invest it and let those investments grow. In the meantime, maybe I'll figure something out. But that definitely morphed into this philosophy of, well, I don't want to just find the best job, because sometimes jobs consume your life. You have this great job, you got a raise, but for every dollar you make, there's more that's put on your plate. There's more that's expected of you. So I refined that to be, okay, I want to find the best, easiest job. But then I realized easy jobs also don't pay very much, and they also don't provide a lot of career trajectory. So then it got refined a little bit more. It was the best, easiest job with some upward mobility. And that would just give me the idea of being able to keep going in the job and the career path and make a little bit more money as I go, but not putting myself in a bad place should I not figure out what I want to be able to do. Now, the second part of this was the investment. So in essence, the first bucket is kind of your job. The second bucket is your investments. I was looking into buying real estate. I was teaching myself about stocks. I was learning about, starting businesses, small businesses, LLCs, things like this. And I realized, okay, well, if that second bucket can grow, like most people, it gets to a place where you can say, well, I don't really need a job anymore, but you can't just quit the job if the second bucket, if your investments haven't grown to a place to sustain your life. But my thinking was, well, I wanted to find the thing that I cared about, that I loved, because then I would just do that. So the ideology was, well, let the second bucket grow, let your investments grow. And then what you can do is, while you're thinking of what your third bucket is, which is basically your dream job, your dream career pursuit, your passion, whatever that is, while I'm figuring mine out, at least I'll have a decent job that I can then take the money from that job and put it into my investments. And if my investments grow, well, then I'll feel more and more comfortable and I'll feel safer to then jump to the third bucket once I discover it. Because then I can leave the first bucket, the job, focus on the third bucket, the dream, the passion, but I'll have the safety net of the investments. And it'll give me the freedom, because most people want to go from the first bucket to the third. And the thing that stops a lot of them is either A, they go, well, what happens if I fail? I'm not going to take that risk. Or they do take the risk, they fail, and they have nothing to fall back on. So this was my way of, while I'm trying to find a passion, to really think about how can I protect myself in the short term and long term and still give myself some flexibility to get there. And the thinking was, well, even if my third bucket, my passion fails, I'll at least be able to have, my second bucket, my investments, to fall back on. And I can always go back and get a job, the first bucket. So that was kind of the concept. And I think it's worked out well for me. And the ideology that I've talked to people about has been that sometimes things don't have to go from 0 to 100. Sometimes you don't have to be on the grind every day going, I'm going to pursue this thing, and if I don't make it, who cares, because I'm all in. I think it's great to have that mindset, but for a person like me who didn't have a real love, a real passion, it was really hard to see that jump, because there wasn't anything that I was so invested in that I really wanted to do. So I wanted to have I tried to figure out the way to have the best of all worlds, where I could have the safety, I could have the security, and I could still take the risk. So that's the concept of the 3 buckets. Hey everybody, I'm Adam Khalil. Thank you so much for listening to this video. I definitely want you to subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more content like this. But if this content had any value to you, click the like button as well.